As the night settles around you, allow your breath to soften, slow, and lengthen. Let the world around you gently fade, as though the walls, the ceiling, even the room itself are drifting backward like a distant shoreline. You are safe. You are still. And in this moment, you are free to wander into a world where time moves differently, where ancient stories rest like quiet waves against the edge of your consciousness. Let your shoulders loosen, your thoughts quiet, and imagine a faint whisper moving through the darkness, calling you not with urgency, but with calm invitation. It is the whisper of history, soft, patient, and waiting. It is the voice of a place that once held the dreams of countless minds, a place where knowledge was treated like a kind of light. Tonight, you will drift toward that light, slowly, gently, without hurry. Picture a horizon that is neither day nor night, but something between, a hushed twilight. In this quiet space, shapes begin to form. Faint lines of ancient coastlines, a shoreline washed with the warm scent of the Mediterranean Sea. The air is cool but comforting, and the wind carries the distant murmur of forgotten worlds. As you move closer, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the serene landscape, as though floating across calm water. A soft glow begins to rise, like dawn filtered through parchment. It is not the sun. It is memory. The memory of an age when scholars gathered in silence, when stories were written not with keyboards or screens, but with ink-reed pens and careful hands. Before the chaos of wars, before the dust of centuries settled, there was a place where minds came to rest together. And tonight, you step gently toward that place. Take another slow breath, feeling the weight of the day dissolve, becoming light and distant. In this drifting state, imagine yourself walking along a quiet ancient road. The sound beneath your feet is soft, almost muffled, as though the stones themselves are wrapped in calm. There are no crowds here, no voices pushing into your mind. Only the quiet presence of history, watching you kindly. Far ahead, faint but growing clearer, stands a city touched by legend, Alexandria, a place where the ancient world converged, where sailors carried stories from distant lands, where poets and philosophers once found shelter from the noise of their own times. Tonight, you arrive not as a traveler burdened with questions, but as a dreamer moving steadily deeper into peace. The sea is to your left, stretching into the dark and calm, rhythmic breaths. The wind that brushes your face carries a hint of salt, a hint of old papyrus, and a faint echo of chants from long-lost rituals. Everything feels soft and slowed, as though Alexandria exists in its own quiet heartbeat, separate from the anxieties of modern life. As you move closer, lights appear in warm, gentle tones, lanterns, torches, reflections on polished stone. They do not flicker violently. Instead, they glow steadily, like ancient guardians watching over generations of knowledge. Your steps grow even slower now, perhaps without you realizing it. The calm of this place is contagious, reaching into your chest and easing every tight space inside you. Somewhere ahead, hidden but undeniably present, lies the dream you have been walking toward. A dream built in stone, in scrolls, in silence. The Library of Alexandria. Those walls have been lost to time. Tonight they rise again, not as ruins, but as a sanctuary reborn in your imagination. A place where the world once came to understand itself. Before you reach it, pause for a moment in this twilight between worlds. Feel the temperature of the air, neither warm nor cold, simply reassuring. Feel the presence of countless footsteps that once walked the same path. Scholars, travelers, seekers of truth. Those centuries have passed. The echo of their quiet wonder lingers like a soft glow in the atmosphere. As you continue forward, the light grows brighter, and you sense the gentle pull of something extraordinary. Not loud, not dramatic, simply profound. The kind of presence that makes you breathe a little deeper without trying. A presence that welcomes you without condition. The closer you get, the more you feel a shift, not in the world around you but within yourself. The heaviness of the day loosens. The noise in your mind dims. A stillness grows, steady and comforting. You begin to sense that the library is not only a place in history, but a place inside you, a quiet chamber where ideas, memories, dreams, and curiosities all rest together. You pause again, long enough to notice the tranquility settling into your muscles, your thoughts, your heartbeat. The road continues ahead, lined with gentle lights guiding you forward like constellations placed at ground level. With each step, you feel more certain that you're approaching something sacred, not in the religious sense, but in the timeless, universal sense. A sanctuary of thought. Imagine now the faint outline of tall columns rising in the distance, not sharp or imposing, but softened by the twilight glow. They seem to breathe with you, expanding and relaxing, as though the building itself understands a rhythm of sleep. You move closer, and with every step, the library grows clearer. Its arches, its entrances, the soft shadows cast along its walls. You do not need to rush. The library does not vanish. It waits. Let the calm settle deeper. Let the world narrow to the slow, peaceful sound of your breath. Tonight, you walk toward not just a building, but an idea, a dream of human curiosity, thousands of years old. A dream that opens like a doorway in front of you as you drift into this quiet journey. And as you stand before its threshold, enveloped in the warm hush of ancient Alexandria, you feel one final soft truth settling over you. The night is long, gentle, and inviting, and the story of the library is yours to enter one calm breath at a time. Before Alexandria rose from the shoreline like a dream of marble and light, Egypt already carried thousands of years of wisdom in its quiet hands. Imagine yourself drifting backward through time, past the bustling harbor and the glow of lanterns, past the soft murmur of Hellenistic streets. Drift further still, until the world reshapes itself into the Egypt that existed long before Alexander ever imagined his shining city. The air becomes warmer, drier, filled with the scent of sand, lotus, and slow-moving river water. The rhythms of this place are ancient, steady, and deeply calm. The Nile stretches before you like a ribbon of life drawn across golden earth. Its waters move with a patience rarely found in the modern world. Slow, rhythmic, soothing. It is a river that has watched civilizations rise and fade like passing dreams. Along its banks, time feels slower, as though every footstep becomes a small ritual. Farmers work quietly. Scribes walk with measured steps, and priests move with sacred purpose that blends seamlessly into the soft hum of daily life. In this older Egypt, knowledge is not collected in vast buildings. It is carried in memory, preserved in rituals, and whispered through generations. The temples rise like stone guardians, patient and monumental, carved with the stories of gods who shaped the world from chaos. Each carving is a prayer, and each prayer is a chapter in a never-ending story. The walls glow a warm, sandy gold under the sun, and even their shadows feel ancient. This is a world where wisdom is sacred, a gift from the gods, a tool used not to conquer, but to maintain harmony in the universe. You drift through quiet halls of a temple, hearing the faint echo of footsteps on polished stone. Scribes kneel on woven mats, their reed pens dipping gracefully into pools of dark ink. Their work is slow, careful, deliberate, the rhythm of strokes almost like a heartbeat. Every symbol they write carries layers of meaning, echoing centuries of tradition. Knowledge here is not rushed. It is treated with reverence, almost tenderness. And in this calm atmosphere, you can feel why Egypt became known as a land where wisdom never slept. Step lightly into the cool shade of the inner sanctuaries, where candlelight flickers against hieroglyphs that shimmer like ancient constellations. Priests chant gently, their voices low and steady, resonating in tones meant to reflect the cosmic order known as Ma'at. To Egyptians, the universe is supposed to move in balance, calmly, predictably, beautifully. Every act, every word, every ritual is meant to maintain that balance. It is a philosophy that brings a sense of peace, a softness to the edges of life. Outside, the desert stretches endlessly, its dunes shifting like silent waves under the sky. The horizon blurs in heat, giving the land a dreamlike quality. And yet, despite the vastness, nothing here feels empty. The desert holds its own kind of memory, still ancient and wise. It watches quietly as the Nile pulses with life beside it, the two forming a balance as old as the world itself. Travel now to one of the early centers of learning, the House of Life, tucked within a temple complex. These sacred rooms hold papyrus scrolls, medicinal recipes, hymns, histories, astronomical notes, and spells meant to guide souls through the afterlife. These early archives are peaceful, dimly lit, and filled with the earthy scent of dried reeds. Scholars murmur softly as they consult scrolls, their voices never rising, never disturbing the tranquility of the space. This is not merely a library. It is a sanctuary of memory. The scholars who work here are as varied as their knowledge. Some observe the movement of stars from the rooftops at night, mapping constellations with a quiet devotion. Others study the flow of the Nile, tracking its floods and patterns with a precision born of necessity and respect. Others still copy hymns praising deities who rule over the sun, the moon, and the endless cycles of life. Even their disagreements are gentle, unfolding in soft discussions under shaded courtyards, carried by breezes that cool the midday heat. Listen for a moment to the sounds around you, the rustling of papyrus sheets, the distant splash of a fish breaking the river's surface, the quiet hum of insects moving through the reeds. Even the footsteps seem softened, cushioned by the dust of centuries. It is a world shaped by an unhurried rhythm, where the pace of thought rises and falls like the Nile itself, steady, dependable, and endlessly nourishing. Walk along the riverbank now, following the slow curve of the water as it glows under a setting sun. Shadows stretch across the fields, and the sky warms into a gradient of gold and soft rose. Farmers finish their day's work in quiet companionship, fishermen pulling their nets with practiced ease. In the distance, the silhouette of a temple stands tall against the light, a reminder of how deeply intertwined spirituality and everyday life are in this land. Egypt before Alexandria was a place where the divine and the practical existed in perfect harmony, where the pursuit of understanding was not a race, but a devotion, where the night sky was a book and the stars were words written by gods. And it is in this deep, rhythmic calm that you can sense the foundation upon which something extraordinary would later be built. Pause a moment in this ancient stillness. Feel the warm breeze on your skin. Hear the soft lap of water, and sense the quiet presence of civilization that cherished wisdom as though it were a living force. Egypt already had a soul rich with knowledge long before any great library was imagined. It had stories, rituals, sciences, and philosophies that shaped the minds of those who would go on to create Alexandria itself. And as you stand in this tranquil ancient world, you can begin to understand how the seeds of the future library were planted here. Long before marble walls were raised, long before scrolls lined endless shelves, the Library of Alexandria would one day rise not from emptiness, but from this very soil of reverence, balance, and quiet pursuit of truth. The wind shifts slightly, carried with the faintest echo of something new approaching, a change in the horizon, a merging of worlds. Egypt stands calm and timeless, unaware that soon a new city will rise along its shores, bringing with it a blending of cultures that will transform a landscape of knowledge forever. For now, let Egypt remain peaceful in your mind, a soft, ancient whisper guiding you gently toward the next chapter in this long, serene journey. Before Alexandria became a beacon of knowledge, its story began with a young man whose dreams stretched far beyond the horizon. Drift now into the world of Alexander the Great. Not the conqueror charging across battlefields, but the visionary standing beneath a quiet sky, imagining a city that could unite cultures, ideas, and worlds. Let the noise of war fall away. Set aside the clatter of armies and the weight of empires. What remains is a soft spark of ambition, something almost gentle in its clarity, something born not from violence but from longing. Picture Alexander in his youth, wandering to the palace gardens of Macedon. The nights there were cool and fragrant, filled with the sound of distant cicadas and the soft rustle of leaves. He grew up on stories, myths whispered by tutors, legends carried from distant lands, tales of heroes who shaped history not only through strength but through wisdom. He was taught by Aristotle, whose words flowed like calm rivers, shaping his curiosity, awakening a desire not just to conquer, but to understand. This quiet influence planted a seed inside him, the belief that knowledge could be a form of immortality. The world he inherited was fractured, scattered across countless cultures and territories. But Alexander did not see borders the way others did. He saw connections waiting to be formed, roads waiting to be built, stories waiting to be shared. When he set out on his long campaigns, he carried not only swords and shields but also scrolls, texts on astronomy, geography, healing, and philosophy. Even as he marched through deserts and mountains, he listened to scholars, collected new ideas, and pondered how a single city might one day gather all the world's knowledge under one sky. Imagine him standing beside the Nile for the first time. The river glows beneath the morning sun, moving slowly like the passage of time itself. Alexander had seen many lands: Greece with its rugged cliffs, Persia with its grand palaces, the sweeping plains beyond. But Egypt stirred something different in him. The calmness of the river, the quiet dignity of its temples, the vast desert stretching outward like an unbroken canvas. Here, he felt a sense of ancient wisdom woven into the air, something older than any empire he had touched. The Egyptian priests welcomed him with rituals older than memory, their chants rising and falling like the breaths of the earth. They did not see him merely as a foreign king, but as a figure foretold, a bridge between their land and the wider world. Their acceptance wrapped around him like a warm, ancient cloak. In this moment of calm reverence, he felt a deep peace, as though the noisy, restless parts of his life had briefly quieted. In that stillness, the idea of a new kind of city came to him. A city where cultures would not collide but converge. Walk with him now along the northern coastline, where the Mediterranean stretches endlessly toward the horizon. The sea here is gentle, its waves whispering against the shore. There is no city yet, only sand, wind, and open space. But Alexander pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly as if he can already see what will rise here. A port that connects continents. Streets laid out in harmonious order. A lighthouse that will guide travelers through the night. And at the heart of it all, a place where knowledge is cherished above power. He kneels in the sand, tracing lines with his finger, rough, uneven sketches that will someday become the grid of Alexandria. The sea breeze brushes his hair, and the sunlight warms his shoulders. There is no urgency in his movements, only quiet certainty. He sees a city of marble and light, a place where scholars, sailors, traders, and poets will gather, a place where languages mix like gentle currents, where discoveries flow as freely as the tides. In this moment, Alexander is not a conqueror. He is a dreamer. Close your eyes and imagine the sound of the wind shifting across the empty shore, carrying hints of the bustling life that will one day fill this space. Hear the imagined conversations of merchants from distant lands, the soft murmur of scholars debating in shaded courtyards, the rhythmic scratching of scribes copying scrolls by lantern light. All of it is still far in the future, but in Alexander's mind, it already exists, alive, vibrant, and full of promise. When he gives the order to build the city, he does so not with triumph, but with calm intention. He brings architects, engineers, surveyors, and thinkers to this quiet coastline. Together, they begin shaping the world he envisioned. Roads are drawn straight and clear, like pathways of thought. Districts are planned to encourage harmony rather than division. Even the harbor is designed with care, meant to welcome ships as gently as the land itself welcomes new ideas. As construction begins, the site hums softly with activity, not hurried but steady, like a heartbeat. Workers place stone upon stone, each movement carrying the weight of Alexander's vision. The sea breeze carries the scent of freshly cut timber, salt, and the faint sweetness of blossoming vegetation. Over time, the outlines of buildings appear, then streets, then gathering spaces where the murmur of people gradually grows. Alexander himself watches often, but silently, standing at a distance as though observing a dream taking shape. He does not linger long. His path will pull him onward to other lands. But each visit deepens his certainty that this city will outlive him, that it will become something more than a monument to his reign. It will be a sanctuary for the curious, a refuge for the thoughtful, a crossroads where the world meets itself. As his journeys continue eastward, unpredictability and conflict wait for him. But for now, let him remain here in your mind, standing on the calm Alexandrian shore. Feel the gentle weight of his vision settling into the land. The sun warms the new foundations. The sea whispers promises of travelers yet to come, and the wind carries the faint echo of something extraordinary beginning. Alexandria is not yet finished. The library does not yet exist. But in this peaceful moment, under the soft glow of the Mediterranean light, the dream has been born. And from that dream, the greatest repository of ancient knowledge will one day rise, quiet, vast, and luminous. After Alexander's vision, a city stretched across the sands and the sea. The task of turning that dream into lasting reality fell to those who would carry his name forward. Among them, Ptolemies stands quietly, not in the roar of battle, but in the gentle hum of purpose. Imagine him stepping onto the still warm stones of Alexandria, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing lightly against his shoulders. The city is young, but the promise it carries is vast, a promise that knowledge can be gathered, preserved, and shared, not just for kings and scholars, but for the world itself. Ptolemy moves through the nascent streets with measured steps, observing how the early buildings rise, how markets hum with cautious activity, how artisans and laborers add shape and rhythm to the city. His mind is steady, almost meditative, as he considers what is needed to make Alexandria more than a port or a capital. He dreams of a place that will endure not only in stone but in spirit, a sanctuary for learning, a hub where every corner of the known world might converge. He knows that the strength of empires fades with time, but knowledge, if nurtured, can live for centuries. In this calm moment, Ptolemy begins to collect advisors and scholars, men and women whose curiosity rivals his own ambition. He encourages them to dream alongside him, not with urgency, but with quiet focus. They speak of scrolls and texts, of scientific observations and philosophical treatises, of histories waiting to be recorded. Every conversation flows slowly, intentionally, like the Nile outside the city walls, each idea expanding gently into the next. The vision of a universal library begins to crystallize, not as a chaotic hoarding of books, but as a carefully curated collection, a place where knowledge will be treated with reverence and care. Walk with him along the early harbor, where ships from distant lands arrive, carrying spices, metals, and manuscripts. Imagine the rustle of sails and the soft slap of waves against the wooden hulls, blending into the background like a lullaby. Ptolemy watches as scrolls are unloaded, inspected, and stored. Each manuscript is more than paper and ink. It is a piece of someone's mind, a fragment of another culture, a whisper from a distant time. He sees a potential to gather not only Greek wisdom, but Egyptian, Babylonian, Persian, and Indian knowledge, each one carefully folded into the growing heart of the city. Inside the plan halls of the library, the air is imagined soft, scented with reed, ink, and wax. The scholars and scribes move with slow precision, unrolling papyrus and recording observations with steady hands. There is no rush, no frantic haste. Only calm attention to detail, as if the very act of writing and preserving wisdom is a form of meditation. Ptolemy walks among them, not as a ruler issuing commands, but as a custodian of a delicate dream. His presence is steadying, and the quiet respect he shows sets the tone for everyone who works there. The Mausion, the sanctuary of learning that Ptolemy envisions, becomes more than a building. It is a living space, designed to encourage reflection and gentle conversation. Gardens are planned where scholars can walk and think, where breezes carry the scent of flowers and the distant sound of the sea. Lecture halls are arranged to allow soft discussion without interruption. Living quarters are simple, comfortable, and filled with light, giving scholars the freedom to focus without distraction. In every choice, Ptolemy's hand moves like a calm river, shaping not just structures, but an environment in which curiosity can flourish. He also begins to think about the ways knowledge can travel beyond the city's borders. Ptolemy understands that wisdom is most powerful when shared. He sends emissaries and scribes to collect texts from across the known world, books of mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and literature. Each journey is undertaken with care and patience, and each scroll that arrives is treated with meticulous attention. In this slow, deliberate process, Alexandria begins to take shape as the beating heart of intellectual life. Even the administration of the library is quiet and deliberate. Ptolemy ensures that those entrusted with the scrolls are scholars themselves, individuals who understand the fragility of knowledge and the responsibility of its stewardship. Rules are designed not to restrict, but to protect. Every manuscript has its place. Every scholar has a purpose. Harmony, balance, and respect govern the daily rhythm of the library and its associated institutions. It is a careful orchestration of minds and materials, all moving in a gentle, steady cadence. As you imagine the city under Ptolemy's guidance, see the streets gradually filling with life. Lanterns glowing softly at dusk, distant music carried across courtyards, merchants trading quietly along shaded lanes. Yet, even amid these small movements, the library remains a sanctuary, a calm center in a living, breathing city. It is a place where thought can unfold without hurry, where every discovery feels like the gentle unfolding of a flower rather than a race toward completion. In this period, the dream begins to anchor itself in reality. Ptolemy is not only building a city, but establishing a vision for human understanding that will outlast his own lifetime. In the quiet of the early morning, when the city sleeps beneath the warm Egyptian sky, he can walk among the scrolls, imagining the generations of scholars who will one day study there. He senses that this place, soft, calm, and full of possibility, will become legendary, not for its grandeur alone, but for serenity with which it nurtures a mind. And so, Alexandria under Ptolemy grows steadily, quietly, like a thought taking shape. Each stone laid, each scroll collected, each scholar welcomed as part of a larger rhythm, a patient weaving of ideas into a tapestry that will endure for centuries. It is here, in this gentle, deliberate way, that the foundation of the Library of Alexandria is laid, not in haste, not in splendor alone, but in the calm, persistent pursuit of knowledge. The city stands ready to become a beacon, a home for curiosity, a place where the world wisdom can rest safely for generations to come. The Library of Alexandria, as it began to rise under the careful guidance of Ptolemy and his advisors, was not merely a building, but a sanctuary shaped with intention, designed to cradle knowledge in its quiet embrace. Imagine stepping softly across the threshold of this ancient place, the cool stone beneath your feet absorbing your weight like it has for centuries, the air carrying the faint scent of papyrus, ink, and beeswax from countless scrolls. The walls themselves seem to breathe, their surfaces smooth and warm under the soft sunlight filtering through high windows. There's a rhythm here, subtle and calming, almost imperceptible, a heartbeat of thought and discovery that continues to pulse even in your imagination. As you move deeper into the library, notice the way the spaces are arranged. Long corridors lined with shelves rise like gentle hills, each shelf carrying scrolls carefully rolled and labeled with precision. The scribes' workstations are quiet havens, small wooden desks with smooth surfaces, reed pens and ink pots arranged neatly, and parchment stacked with deliberate care. The movement of the scribes is slow and deliberate, each gesture meditative. It is as if time itself is bent to the will of the library, slowing so that every moment can hold thought, reflection, and understanding. The rooms are filled with a soft, golden light that filters through the latticework windows. Shadows play across the stone floors, stretching and retreating as the sun moves across the sky. In the corners, low benches invite scholars to sit, read, or ponder. Scrolls lie open, revealing diagrams of stars, mathematical tables, or passages of poetry, their presence quiet yet profoundly alive. There is no noise here beyond the occasional whisper, the soft scrape of pen on papyrus, or the faint rustle of parchment turning, a sound as gentle as wind through reeds. The library is designed not only to store knowledge, but to honor it. Imagine the careful attention given to the preservation of scrolls. Clay jars and wooden cases lined with soft linen, protecting delicate papyrus from humidity and dust. Each scroll is handled with reverence, the work of copying undertaken slowly, ensuring that the words survive for generations. This dedication is almost ritualistic. Every scholar, every scribe understands that they are custodians of a vast, living memory, a trust that reaches beyond their own lifetimes. As you wander further, you reach the lecture halls. Here, students and scholars gather to discuss ideas in calm, contemplative tones. The rooms are spacious yet intimate, designed to carry voices gently without the need for raised volume. You can imagine the sound of a soft argument over the movement of the stars, the careful explanation of a mathematical theorem, or a poet reciting verses with measured cadence. These are not hurried discussions, but slow, reflective exchanges where thought is allowed to bloom fully before being recorded, shared, or debated. Between the halls, courtyards offer gentle reprieves. Gardens with stone paths wind around fountains that trickle quietly, offering a soothing background to reflection. Olive trees and flowering shrubs provide shade, and birds occasionally flutter from branch to branch, adding subtle life to the serene atmosphere. Scholars walk these paths alone or in small groups, their conversations hushed, their pace unhurried. It is a place where contemplation is as natural as breathing, where the mind can wander without distraction, yet remain fully engaged with pursuit of understanding. The library also houses spaces for the arts. In certain halls, musicians and poets perform softly, their work intertwined with the calm hum of scholarly life. Imagine the gentle plucking of a lyre, the low, melodic recitation of epic tales, the subtle rhythm of storytelling that mirrors the flow of thought throughout the building. Even in these moments of artistic expression, the overall mood remains one of gentle immersion, a slow unfolding of inspiration alongside learning. The architecture itself encourages reflection. Columns rise in measured intervals, creating a sense of rhythm and symmetry that soothes the eye and mind. Archways frame views of distant courtyards, allowing sunlight to scatter across floors in soft patterns. Ceilings are high and vaulted, giving the impression of limitless space while containing the warmth and comfort of the interior. Every element, from stone to wooded glass, has been chosen and placed to support the quiet reverence of the library's purpose. Even the movement of people is orchestrated to maintain calm. Scribes carry scrolls with steady hands. Students walk in thoughtful silence, pausing occasionally to glance at a text or consult a mentor. Scholars lean over tables with eyes soft and concentrated, absorbing and interpreting knowledge at their own pace. Nothing is rushed. There is no clamor, no distraction, only the slow, deliberate unfolding of understanding. Imagine, too, the sensory details. The soft weight of scroll in your hand, the smoothness of parchment, the earthy aroma of ink and dust, the faint warmth of the stone floor beneath your feet. Perhaps you hear the distant lapping of waves from a nearby harbor, mingling with the gentle hum of life within the library. Even the air feels purposeful, cool, steady, and lightly scented with the natural elements that the architects have allowed to enter the space, enhancing rather than disturbing the serenity. Above all, the library is alive not in a noisy sense, but in the quiet persistence of thought. Knowledge hums gently through its halls like a soft current, flowing from scholar to student, from scribe to reader, from one mind to another across generations. Every scroll copied, every lecture given, every garden path wandered contributes to this living tapestry. It is a sanctuary of continuity, where the past, present, and future coexist in a calm and steady embrace. And as you pause in one of the high windows, looking out over the city that is slowly growing beyond the library's walls, you feel the sense of purpose that suffuses every corner of the space. Alexandria itself mirrors the library, carefully planned, luminous, and serene. Here, knowledge is not just preserved. It is nurtured, allowed to breathe, to grow, and to guide all who enter in quiet reflection. The Library of Alexandria is more than stone, papyrus, or ink. It is a living, breathing testament to the gentle, enduring power, curiosity, and human thought. The Mouse Ion, the heart of the Library of Alexandria, rises quietly within the city, a sanctuary of thought designed to nurture minds and dreams alike. Imagine walking along its marble pathways, the soft crunch of your sandals muted by the carefully swept floors, and the gentle warmth of the sun spilling across the courtyards. The building itself is not imposing, but serene, its design inviting both reflection and dialogue. The Mouse Ion is more than a collection of rooms. It is an atmosphere, a rhythm of calm intellect, a breathing space where scholars are encouraged to explore the edges of human understanding without hurry or pressure. Entering through tall, column gateways, you feel the subtle change in air. It is cooler here, heavier with a faint, comforting scent of papyrus and ink. The walls are lined with scrolls carefully arranged in wooden cases, their labels written with precision by scribes who understand that every word carries centuries of thought. The light that filters in through high windows casts gentle shadows across the floors and desks, creating a sense of quiet intimacy even in spaces designed for many. You notice immediately that there is no chaos here, no crowding of voices, only the soft, purposeful murmur of inquiry. Walk into the central hall of the Mouse Ion, where scholars gather in small clusters. Some sit cross-legged on woven mats, reading slowly, lips moving just slightly as they whisper passages to themselves. Others lean over low tables, sketching diagrams of the stars, tracing the lines of geometry, or annotating fragments of ancient texts. The air hums with calm focus, the kind of energy that flows naturally from curiosity, not urgency. You can feel the collective mind of the Mouse Ion extending outward, reaching through time and space, connecting the thoughts of one scholar to the next, as if the building itself encourages the gentle transmission of ideas. Outside, in the courtyards, The gardens invite wandering contemplation. Olive trees and flowering shrubs grow in carefully planned arrangements, their shadows shifting slowly with the sun. Scholars stroll through these spaces, carrying scrolls or conversing in low, measured tones. A fountain trickles softly, its sound blending with the distant whisper of the sea, creating a natural rhythm that soothes the mind and fosters clarity. Even the birds seem to understand the atmosphere, flitting gently from branch to branch, their wings brushing the air like a soft punctuation between thoughts. Within the mouse ion, the living quarters are modest or comfortable, designed to allow scholars to rest, reflect, and study without distraction. Beds are simple, yet carefully made to support rest. Tables and benches are strategically placed to encourage quiet discussion. Here, the rhythm of life is steady and slow, guided not by clocks or schedules, but by curiosity and the natural flow of thought. Meals are shared in silence or whispered conversation, taken slowly, allowing nourishment to coincide with contemplation. Every aspect of life within the mouse ion is designed to maintain a sense of calm continuity. The scholars themselves are a quiet but vivid presence. They come from distant lands, speaking many languages, yet in the mouse ion, all are united by the pursuit of knowledge. You might see one mapping the heavens with careful attention to the stars' movements, while another studies the anatomy of plants, noting patterns invisible to the casual eye. Nearby, a poet gently recites lines from Homer, listening as the words echo against the walls, enriching the atmosphere of reflection. Even debates here are subdued, deliberate, and infused with respect. A slow, thoughtful exchange that deepens understanding rather than rushing toward conclusion. Imagine the daily rhythm of the mouse ion as the sun arcs across the sky. Morning light warms the halls, casting soft patterns across stone floors. Midday brings a quiet pause of contemplation, when scholars may retreat to gardens or shaded benches. Afternoon is filled with careful transcription, as scribes copy text to preserve them for future generations. As evening falls, the air cools, lanterns glow, and the soft scratch of reed pens continues into the night. Even in darkness, the mouse ion feels alive with gentle intellectual energy, a place where knowledge rests but never sleeps. The architecture itself encourages both inward reflection and outward curiosity. Arched windows frame views of distant courtyards and the shimmering harbor beyond. Columns provide a sense of rhythm, their spacing giving the impression of gentle order. Ceilings rise high enough to inspire, all without overwhelming, creating spaces that feel expansive yet intimate. Every design element, from stone to wood to carved decoration, has been chosen to nurture a calm mind, allowing ideas to flourish naturally. Even the act of moving through the mouse ion is meditative. Each corridor, each stair, each doorway is a transition, a subtle invitation to slow down, to pause, to notice. The layout encourages wandering, not aimless, but intentional, as the mind drifts from one concept to another, gently exploring connections, patterns, and insights. The space itself seems to encourage a rhythm of thinking and resting, an ebb and flow that mirrors the natural world beyond its walls. And as you imagine yourself walking through these halls, carrying the soft weight of scrolls in your hands, observing scholars moving in quiet harmony, you begin to understand why the mouse ion was more than a building or a collection of texts. It is a living organism of thought, a sanctuary where curiosity and patience coexist. It embodies a belief that knowledge is most powerful when nurtured slowly, deliberately, and reverently. In this calm, steady environment, human intellect reaches its most serene and enduring expression, laying the groundwork for centuries of discovery to come. The pursuit of knowledge in Alexandria was not a passive endeavor. The scholars, scribes, and rulers of the city understood that wisdom was scattered across the known world, hidden in distant lands, private collections, and forgotten archives. Imagine, then, the quiet but determined ambition that filled the halls of the library, the desire to gather every fragment of human thought, to preserve it, and to make it accessible for generations to come. This was not a rush nor a frenzy, but a careful, deliberate quest, like a gentle river gathering tributaries, each scroll a quiet contribution to the vast current of understanding. Ships arrived in the harbor from lands near and far, carrying not only spices, silks, and metals, but also the treasures of thought. Each vessel was greeted by scribes and officials who carefully cataloged the manuscripts, noting their origins, their authors, and their contents. In these moments, Imagine the soft echo of footsteps on stone, the gentle rustle of parchment being unrolled and examined. Every scroll is a story, a record of someone else's curiosity, a piece of human experience folded carefully into paper. The library's agents handle each with reverence, recognizing that these fragile objects carry the weight of centuries and potential to shape the future. But the library's ambitions did not stop at waiting for manuscripts to arrive. Teams of scholars were dispatched across Egypt, the Mediterranean, and even beyond, tasked with seeking out knowledge wherever it might reside. Picture these quiet expeditions. Small boats gliding over glassy seas at dawn, camels treading silently across desert sands, envoys entering the halls of foreign kings with gentle respect. The goal was not conquest, but collection, not theft, but careful preservation. Wherever they went, these seekers carried with them a soft, unspoken understanding that each piece of knowledge was precious and delicate, requiring patience and care. Back within the library, scribes work methodically to copy each scroll. The process is deliberate and meditative. A scribe unrolls the original, eyes tracing the characters with quiet concentration, hand moving steadily across fresh papyrus. Mistakes are avoided through careful repetition, and when a word or phrase is unclear, discussions arise in soft tones among scholars, considering context, intent, and meaning. It is a collaborative, unhurried effort, each act of copying a kind of ritual that ensures the survival of wisdom. The atmosphere is calm, contemplative, almost sacred, as though every stroke of the reed pen carries a memory of generations. Consider, too, the diversity of materials that arrived. There are scrolls of poetry, recounting the epics of distant peoples, treatises on mathematics and astronomy, charting the heavens with careful observation, texts on medicine, offering remedies and understanding of the human body, historical records, chronicling empires and dynasties, and philosophical works, pondering the nature of life, the soul, and the cosmos. Each is treated equally, with the same patient attention, the same reverence, regardless of its origin or fame. In this way, the library becomes a mirror of the world itself, a quiet collection of voices from every corner, harmonized through careful preservation. Imagine the halls where these copies are stored. Scrolls line the shelves in orderly rows, each labeled and organized, so that they may be easily accessed. Scholars move among them in hushed tones, selecting texts for study or discussion, rolling and unrolling them with gentle hands. Light filters through lattice windows, casting soft shadows on the stone floors, and the faint scent of ink, papyrus, and beeswax fills the air. The library becomes a living organism of thought, its heartbeat slow and steady, each copied scroll a new pulse added to the collective consciousness. Beyond the practical aspects of collection and copying, there is the quiet adventure of seeking knowledge itself. Picture a scholar traveling inland, speaking softly to local priests and scribes, learning the nuances of languages and customs, listening patiently to understand unfamiliar concepts. Each journey is slow, deliberate, and thoughtful, taken with care to respect both the people and the texts encountered. The process is not hurried. Discovery is savored, recorded meticulously, and preserved. In this way, the library extends its reach not through force or urgency, but through patience, respect, and quiet persistence. Even the most mundane moments of this quest are infused with calm purpose. Unpacking a crate of scrolls, labeling them carefully, copying a diagram, arranging text by subject, these acts, repeated daily, carry a kind of meditative rhythm. Scholars move in gentle synchrony, their voices low, their hands steady. The city outside continues its bustling life, but within these halls, time slows. Each act contributes to the grander whole, a slow accumulation of wisdom, a tapestry woven with care across years and continents. And so, the Library at Alexandria becomes a center of patient exploration, a place where curiosity is disciplined yet free, where the world's knowledge is gathered like streams feeding into a great river. It is not the rush of discovery that defines it, but the quiet dedication, preservation, the steady accumulation of thought, and the reverent handling of ideas. Every scroll, every copied word, every careful record contributes to the enduring heartbeat of the library, a gentle, constant current of human understanding flowing steadily through the centuries, inviting all who enter to follow its path, slowly, thoughtfully, and with deep respect. Within the walls of the Library of Alexandria, The world of knowledge unfolds in endless quiet layers, a tapestry of human thought stretching across time and space. Imagine walking through a hall lined with scrolls from distant lands, each one a whisper from a culture you have never visited, a mind you have never met. Yet here, in this serene sanctuary, all are gathered together. The air is cool, lightly scented with ink and dried papyrus, and the sunlight filters gently through high windows, casting soft patterns on the stone floors. Every step you take is deliberate, unhurried, as though the library itself asks you to slow your pace, to breathe, to absorb not only the words but the calm they carry. The halls of the library are more than storage spaces. They are living archives. Scrolls are carefully organized, some by subject, others by origin, each one labeled with precision and care. Scholars move quietly between shelves, their fingers brushing lightly over papyrus, unrolling and rolling scrolls with reverent attention. Every touch is thoughtful, deliberate. The act of handling knowledge is itself a meditation. The environment encourages focus, reflection, and serenity, as if the very walls of the library are infused with the patience and wisdom of countless generations. Picture a section dedicated to mathematics and astronomy. Scrolls filled with diagrams, numbers, and observations line the shelves. A scholar sits cross-legged on a mat, his eyes tracing constellations mapped centuries ago, his hand moving slowly as he replicates them on fresh parchment. He pauses often, not out of confusion, but to consider the patterns, the relationships between stars, and the rhythms of the heavens. In this quiet, contemplative atmosphere, understanding is allowed to unfold naturally, without rush or distraction. The knowledge here is not merely preserved, it is lived, felt, and absorbed. Move to another section devoted to medicine and natural sciences. The faint scent of herbs and dried plants mingles with the aroma of ink. Scrolls contain detailed descriptions of anatomy, medicinal recipes, and treatments for ailments. Scholars carefully cross-reference these texts, comparing the wisdom of different cultures. One studies the healing properties of plants from India, while another examines a surgical technique from Egypt. Their voices are low and measured, questions asked gently, answers offered with equal patience. Here, the library is a calm workshop, a place where the mysteries of life are approached with quiet curiosity and deep respect. In the literary halls, the air carries the soft murmur of poetry and storytelling. Scrolls contain epics, dramas, hymns, and philosophical treatises. Scholars read aloud softly, allowing the cadence of the words to resonate through the halls, adding a subtle rhythm to the calm. Others listen, absorbing the imagery and emotion, their minds weaving connections across cultures and centuries. Here, the library becomes a bridge across time, linking the imagination of distant minds to the present moment, fostering understanding and empathy through quiet engagement. The library spaces are designed to foster reflection and collaboration. Small lecture halls allow gentle discourse, while open courtyards provide a place for solitary contemplation. Gardens with olive trees and fountains offer spaces for walking, thinking, or quietly discussing ideas. Imagine scholars strolling through these areas, scrolls in hand, conversing in measured tones, their steps synchronized with the soft trickle of water and the rustle of leaves. Even the smallest details, the placement of a bench, the orientation of a window, encourage calm and deliberate thought, making pursuit of knowledge a harmonious, almost meditative practice. Consider the care with which knowledge is preserved. Scrolls are stored in clay jars or wooden cases lined with soft materials to protect them from moisture and decay. Scribes meticulously copy texts, ensuring that even fragile or deteriorating manuscripts survive. Errors are corrected gently, and when questions arise, discussions occur in hushed voices, with each scholar contributing to a slow, collective understanding. In this way, the library is not only a repository but a living organism, sustaining and nurturing human thought across generations. Even the daily rhythms of the library contribute to its serenity. Morning brings soft light that illuminates the stone floors and wooden shelves. Midday is marked by quiet movement. Scholars pause and consult texts, exchanging gentle insights, or walking in shaded courtyards. Afternoon is dedicated to copying, organizing, and reflecting, while evening sees lanterns casting a warm, steady glow over writing tables. The pace is calm, continuous, and intentional, a slow unfolding of human curiosity in which every action has purpose but no urgency. Beyond the practical, the library is a sanctuary for imagination and inspiration. Scholars are free to explore new ideas, to consider the unknown, to speculate and theorize. One may study the stars and imagine distant worlds. Another may read a philosophical text and ponder the nature of existence. Even the act of walking through the halls, moving from one scroll to another, one garden to the next, encourages a gentle, contemplative rhythm, blending motion and thought into a seamless meditation. And in this calm, continuous flow, Alexandria itself begins to feel like an extension of the library. The city hums softly around it. The distant murmur of the harbor, the gentle clatter of carts, the quiet footsteps of citizens. But within these walls, time is measured differently. Here, thought expands slowly, carefully, and profoundly. Every scroll, every lecture, every discussion contributes to the vast, steady heartbeat of human understanding. The Library of Alexandria is more than a building or a collection of texts. It is a living sanctuary of patience, reflection, and enduring wisdom, a place where knowledge rests, nurtures, and inspires in quiet perpetuity. As the Library of Alexandria grew, it became not just a repository of texts, but a crossroads of cultures, ideas, and traditions from across the known world. Imagine stepping into a vast hall, the ceilings high and echoing faintly, lined with rows upon rows of scrolls that capture the wisdom of civilizations near and far. Each scroll carries the voice of a thinker, a scribe, or a poet, and as you move slowly through the space, you can feel the gentle pulse of human curiosity flowing around you. It is a quiet, deliberate energy, one that encourages reflection, contemplation, and immersion, inviting every visitor to slow down and absorb the depth of thought that surrounds them. The library's reach extends far beyond Alexandria itself. Picture scholars and envoys traveling to distant lands with calm determination, seeking texts in Babylonian archives, Indian monasteries, Persian libraries, and Greek temples. They arrive quietly, offering respect to the guardians of knowledge, gently requesting access to scrolls and manuscripts. Each journey is slow and purposeful, allowing time for trust to be built, for languages to be understood, and for ideas to be interpreted carefully. There is no haste here. The pursuit of understanding is treated as a lifelong practice, a deliberate unfolding of insight. Back within the library, the scrolls brought from far-off lands are received with care. Imagine a scribe unrolling a delicate manuscript from India, the scent of ink and spices lingering faintly in the air. Another scroll arrives from Babylon, its cuneiform etched carefully into clay, and scholars gather to translate, compare, and preserve the knowledge. The atmosphere is hushed and reverent, with each scholar moving slowly and deliberately, aware that they are handling fragments of human history and imagination that must be honored and maintained. The diversity of ideas within the library is staggering. Here, one can encounter treatises on astronomy alongside ancient medical recipes, poetry beside historical records, philosophy interwoven with mathematics. Scholars cross-reference these texts, seeking connections between cultures and disciplines. Conversations unfold in soft tones, often outdoors in the courtyards or gardens where fountains trickle gently and the leaves of olive trees sway in the breeze. Each exchange is deliberate, designed not for argument but for understanding, as the library encourages collaboration and reflection over confrontation or haste. Consider the scholars themselves, men and women who had traveled great distances, bringing with them knowledge shaped by different languages, beliefs, and experiences. They move slowly through the halls, reading, copying, discussing, and contemplating. Sometimes they pause to meditate on a passage, tracing the lines with their fingers, murmuring softly to themselves as the meaning unfolds. Other times, small groups gather in quiet discussion, voices low and measured, ideas flowing gently between them like a slow river nourishing fertile banks. In every gesture, the library reinforces the calm rhythm of learning. Even the physical arrangement of the library supports this deliberate pace. Scrolls are meticulously organized by subject, region, or author, allowing scholars to navigate the vast collection without overwhelm. Rooms are spacious but intimate, designed for small groups or solitary study. Windows allow soft light to filter through lattices, creating patterns on the floors and walls that shift with the sun, subtly guiding the eye and calming the mind. Courtyards and gardens are interspersed, offering spaces for reflection, walking, and quiet conversation. Every element is intentional, reinforcing the idea that knowledge is best pursued slowly, with care, and with respect. Imagine a scholar sitting near a fountain in the central courtyard, a scroll open before her. She traces a line of mathematics, considering the implications for astronomy, then pauses to observe the stars beginning to emerge in the evening sky. A gentle breeze brushes against her skin, carrying the faint saltiness of the Mediterranean. Nearby, another scholar reads a treatise on medicine, quietly comparing remedies with those recorded centuries ago in distant lands. Their work is slow, careful, and deliberate, reflecting the library's ethos that the pursuit of understanding is a lifelong, gentle journey. The library also functions as a bridge between cultures. Imagine an Egyptian priest softly explaining the significance of a hieroglyphic text to a Greek scholar, or a Babylonian mathematician showing his calculations to a visiting student. These interactions unfold in measured tones, the exchange of ideas slow and respectful. In this way, the library becomes not just a repository, but a living organism of shared human thought, where cultures meet quietly, learn from one another, and contribute to a growing tapestry of understanding. Even in moments of quiet labor, the library hums with a subtle energy. Scribes copy text with steady hands, ensuring every word survives. Scholars pore over scrolls, noting patterns, recording insights, and building connections. The air is filled with a faint rustle of parchment, the soft scratching of pens, and the occasional whisper of conversation. Nothing is rushed. Every movement is intentional, contributing to the slow, deliberate accumulation of wisdom. The space encourages a rhythm that mirrors a natural world, like the gentle ebb and flow of the nearby Mediterranean, or the steady pulse of the Nile, bringing life and nourishment to all it touches. And so, in this serene, deliberate environment, Alexandria becomes a center of knowledge unparalleled in the ancient world. Every scroll collected, every translation made, every discussion held adds to the library's calm, enduring heartbeat. It is a place where human curiosity is respected and nurtured, where ideas are handled with care, and where the pursuit of understanding is treated as a lifelong meditative practice. Here, within the gentle hush of stone halls, flowing courtyards, and carefully arranged scrolls, the Library of Alexandria fulfills its promise, a sanctuary where the wisdom of the world comes to rest, flourish, and quietly guide generations yet to come. The Library of Alexandria was not only a repository of knowledge, it was a living, breathing hub of intellectual life, where scholars move with calm purpose, and every corridor seemed to hum with the gentle energy of discovery. Picture entering a vast hall, where sunlight pours softly through lattice windows, illuminating scrolls that stretch endlessly along wooden shelves. The air carries a faint aroma of ink, papyrus, and the warmth of sunlit stone, inviting visitors to slow their pace, breathe deeply, and immerse themselves fully in the pursuit of understanding. Every step feels deliberate, as if the building itself encourages contemplation, reflection, and quiet wonder. In these serene halls, scholars from across the Mediterranean gather, their footsteps almost silent on the smooth floors. You might see a Greek mathematician carefully plotting diagrams, tracing geometric shapes with precise, unhurried movements. Nearby, an Egyptian priest studies astronomical charts. His eyes follow the paths of stars as he compares them to ancient observations. Each scholar moves with a rhythm all their own, yet the collective pace is harmonious, like a gentle river flowing steadily toward the ocean of understanding. Conversations are whispered, questions posed softly, answers shared with patience, creating an atmosphere where thought can grow without distraction. Imagine the library's rooms dedicated to philosophy and rhetoric. Here, students and teachers sit together on low benches or mats, voices calm and even, debating ideas about morality, the nature of the universe, and the essence of knowledge. Discussions are slow and deliberate, each argument carefully considered before being voiced, each counterpoint offered with gentle respect. The rhythm is deliberate. Speak, reflect, listen, and then respond. It is a form of dialogue that nurtures clarity, patience, and insight, where learning is not measured by speed, but by depth. In other areas, natural sciences take center stage. Scholars examine medical scrolls, detailing anatomy, treatments, and herbal remedies. Others chart the movements of the stars, or map rivers and coastlines. The process is meticulous and meditative. A scholar may spend hours observing patterns, noting small details, and recording findings. The act of learning is slow, deliberate, almost sacred, emphasizing understanding rather than mere accumulation of facts. Every observation, every note, every careful replication of diagrams adds another layer to the library's quiet pulse. Even the practical work of preservation is conducted with reverence and patience. Scribes carefully copy texts, their reed pens gliding over fresh papyrus in soft, measured strokes. Mistakes are corrected gently, and discussions arise in low tones when the meaning of a passage is unclear. Every scroll is handled with care, each manuscript treated as a fragile vessel carrying the thoughts and dreams of minds long past. The process itself becomes meditation, where the rhythm of writing, reading, and reflecting merges with the very atmosphere of the building, creating a sanctuary of calm, deliberate scholarship. Outside the main halls, gardens, and courtyards offer spaces for reflection and quiet conversation. Olive trees sway gently in the breeze. Fountains ripple softly, and the faint sound of birds adds a subtle layer of life. Scholars stroll slowly along winding paths, scrolls tucked under arms, pausing occasionally to discuss a point of interest or to reflect silently on a passage they had just read. These open spaces mirror the library's interior rhythm, calm, deliberate, and infused with a sense of gentle order, encouraging contemplation and measured exploration. The library also fosters cross-cultural exchange. Imagine a scholar from India explaining the properties of medicinal herbs to a visiting Greek physician, or a Babylonian mathematician teaching geometric principles to a student from Egypt. These interactions unfold in measured, respectful tones, emphasizing understanding and shared insight rather than haste or competition. In this way, Alexandria becomes not only a repository of text, but a living network of human thought, where knowledge flows freely and gently across borders, languages, and traditions. Even daily routines are infused with intentional calm. Morning light floods the halls as scholars begin their work, consulting texts or copying scrolls. Midday brings a pause for reflection or quiet conversation in shaded courtyards. Afternoon is often devoted to transcription, cataloging, or contemplative study. As evening approaches, lanterns cast a warm, steady glow across writing tables, and the soft scratch of pens continues into the night. The pace is never hurried, yet productivity is steady. Knowledge accumulates gently, layer by layer, like sand slowly forming a vast, enduring landscape. In every movement, every task, every whisper, the library's environment teaches patience, reverence, and respect for the process of learning. It is a place where human curiosity is celebrated, where thought unfolds slowly and deliberately, and where the quiet rhythm of scholarship becomes almost tangible. Here, within the calm, echoing halls of Alexandria, the pursuit of wisdom is not a race but meditation, a lifelong journey nurtured by careful observation, thoughtful dialogue, and a deep, enduring respect for fragile and precious gift of knowledge. The library, in this way, becomes more than a building. It is a sanctuary, a living organism of ideas, a slow-moving river of human thought stretching across centuries. Every scroll cataloged, every lecture given, every debate held contributes to the steady heartbeat of understanding. And as you imagine yourself wandering these halls, absorbing the gentle flow of knowledge, you can feel the profound serenity that shaped the library's enduring legacy, a place where wisdom is cherished, preserved, and allowed to unfold at the natural pace of human contemplation. The Library of Alexandria, in its full bloom, becomes more than just a building or a collection of scrolls. It transforms into a living, breathing ecosystem of human thought, a sanctuary where curiosity moves gently but persistently, like a quiet current threading its way through a vast river. Picture walking down one of its long corridors, the soft light streaming through lattice windows casting intricate patterns on the stone floor, the faint scent of ink and aged papyrus wrapping around you like a comforting blanket. Every step you take is slowed by the awareness of history gathered in this space, each scroll a whisper from distant lands, each scribe a custodian of knowledge both fragile and immense. Within these halls, scholars move with measured intent. One may sit cross-legged on a woven mat, unrolling a scroll from Babylon, tracing cuneiform with slow, deliberate fingers, murmuring softly as each character's meaning unfolds in their mind. Nearby, another scholar pores over Egyptian texts, their eyes scanning hieroglyphs with patient focus, pausing occasionally to compare a line with a Greek translation, seeking harmony between languages and ideas. The atmosphere is calm, yet charged with quiet energy, a gentle hum that arises not from noise, but from the steady pulse of thought and reflection. The diversity of subjects within the library is staggering. Here, texts on astronomy, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, literature, and history coexist in careful order. A scholar might study the movements of the stars in one room, while another examines the anatomy of plants in the next. Poetry and epic tales echo softly as they are read aloud, their rhythm blending seamlessly with the muted scratch of reed pens across papyrus. Each discipline is allowed its own space and pace, yet all contribute to a greater, collective understanding, a slow, deliberate weaving together of human knowledge. Even the act of copying text is infused with meditative rhythm. Scribes work meticulously, their movements calm and precise, rolling and unrolling scrolls with gentle hands. Mistakes are corrected thoughtfully, with discussions held in soft tones when interpretations of a passage differ. Each act of transcription becomes a ritual, an offering to the preservation of human insight, ensuring that no knowledge, however small or obscure, is lost in the passage of time. The library's energy flows not in haste, but in careful accumulation, a steady layering of understanding that stretches across generations. Imagine the courtyards between these halls. They are tranquil spaces where scholars stroll slowly, pausing beneath olive trees or beside fountains that ripple quietly in the sun. Conversations here are hushed and deliberate, ideas exchanged like seeds, planted carefully in the minds of others for reflection. One scholar might describe the medicinal properties of an herb brought from India, while another explains a mathematical principle from Babylon. These interactions, though subtle and gentle, form bridges between distant cultures, weaving together diverse threads of wisdom into a single, harmonious tapestry. The architecture itself supports this calm rhythm. High ceilings create an expansive feeling without overwhelming. Columns spaced thoughtfully guide the eye and the body, and soft natural light encourages focus and contemplation. Even the smallest design choices, benches positioned in shaded corners, walkways curving to invite exploration, windows framing distant views of the harbor or gardens, are deliberate, designed to encourage movement that is slow, deliberate, and reflective. The space itself becomes a teacher, guiding both the mind and the body toward patience and awareness. Beyond the physical space, the library fosters an ethos of collaboration and gentle inquiry. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond meet here not as competitors, but as participants in a shared, unhurried exploration of human knowledge. They translate, interpret, discuss, and reflect in measured tones, aware that understanding unfolds best when approached with respect and care. Ideas travel slowly between minds, like soft ripples across water, leaving lasting impressions that take root and grow over time. Even daily life within the library adheres to this deliberate pace. Mornings are greeted with the soft glow of sunlight illuminating scrolls, afternoons with the careful copying and cataloging of texts, and evenings with lanterns casting gentle light over discussions, lectures, and quiet study. Scholars pause for meals, reflection, or short walks, maintaining balance between work and contemplation. Every rhythm is intentional, ensuring that learning is never rushed, that insight is never forced, and that the gentle accumulation of wisdom continues steadily, without interruption. The library's influence extends beyond its walls. Knowledge preserved here flows outward through copies, translations, and shared insights, slowly shaping thought across the Mediterranean and beyond. Scholars return to their homelands with newfound understanding, carrying seeds of ideas that will grow in distant lands. In this way, the library is not only a sanctuary for those within it, but a quiet, enduring river of wisdom touching countless minds, centuries before its ultimate fate is sealed. And so, as you imagine the Library of Alexandria at its height, feel the slow, steady pulse of intellectual life coursing through its halls. Every scroll cataloged, every discussion held, every careful transcription contributes to a living organism of thought. It is a sanctuary where time slows, curiosity is nurtured, and knowledge is treated with reverence. Here, in this gentle, deliberate environment, the human mind reaches serene, enduring clarity, a calm river of understanding flowing patiently across generations, inviting all who enter to move with it, slowly, thoughtfully, and fully immersed in the quiet beauty of discovery. The Library of Alexandria, in its prime, is not merely a repository of texts, but a living sanctuary where pursuit of knowledge unfolds with quiet reverence. Imagine walking through one of its expansive halls, the sunlight filtering gently through lattice windows, casting patterns on the polished stone floors. The air is soft with a faint scent of ink, dried papyrus, and wax, creating an atmosphere that invites slow breathing and mindful attention. Every scroll, every shelf, every corridor seems to hum softly with the accumulated wisdom of civilizations, a gentle rhythm that encourages patience, reflection, and the deliberate unfolding of understanding. Within these walls, scholars move with calm precision. Picture a Greek mathematician unrolling a scroll of Babylonian calculations, tracing each figure with careful fingers, murmuring softly to himself as he interprets the symbols. Nearby, an Egyptian physician studies a medical text, cross-referencing remedies with observations recorded centuries ago. Their work is slow, deliberate, and deeply contemplative, reflecting the library's ethos that true understanding cannot be rushed. Every gesture, from the gentle turning of a scroll to the soft scratching of a reed pen, contributes to the serene pulse of intellectual life. The library thrives on the diversity of its collections. Scrolls on astronomy, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, history, and literature coexist in carefully curated order. Scholars study them in small groups or in solitude, moving between disciplines with ease, guided by curiosity and reflection rather than urgency. In a corner, a poet softly recites verses from an epic, the rhythm of words mingling with the muted sounds of writing and footfalls. In another room, a philosopher debates the nature of existence with students, voices low and deliberate, each point considered carefully before being spoken. The pace is measured, allowing ideas to take root and expand naturally. Even the process of transcription is infused with calm purpose. Scribes copy text with meticulous attention, ensuring that every word is preserved for future generations. Mistakes are corrected thoughtfully, and when a passage is ambiguous, discussions unfold in hushed tones. Each act of copying is a quiet ritual, a form of meditation, connecting past and future through patient, careful work. The library becomes a living organism, each scroll, each scholar, and each scribe contributing to its steady, enduring heartbeat. The physical space of the library supports this rhythm. Tall ceilings create openness without overwhelm, columns and arches guide the eye gently, and windows allow soft light to illuminate the halls naturally. Courtyards and gardens provide serene spaces for walking, contemplation, or quiet discussion. Olive trees, flowering shrubs, and trickling fountains offer subtle sensory cues that slow the pace of movement and thought. Even the layout of benches, tables, and shelves is designed to facilitate calm, deliberate exploration, encouraging scholars to move with intention and mindfulness. Within this environment, cross-cultural exchange flourishes. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond gather to share ideas, compare observations, and collaborate in gentle, measured tones. A mathematician from Babylon may explain complex calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal remedies to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are respectful, slow, and deliberate, ensuring that knowledge is not only transmitted but also deeply understood. The library becomes a living network of ideas, where wisdom flows like a quiet river across borders, languages, and traditions. Even daily routines contribute to the library's enduring calm. Mornings begin with the soft illumination of sunlight through windows, as scholars unroll scrolls and settle into focused work. Midday offers pauses for reflection in shaded courtyards or quiet conversation among colleagues. Afternoons are filled with transcription, cataloging, and study, while evenings see lanterns casting a warm, steady glow over desks and lecture spaces. Every rhythm is intentional, designed to sustain a balance between effort and contemplation, allowing learning to unfold gradually and fully. The library also cultivates creativity alongside scholarship. Musicians, poets, and storytellers find spaces within the halls to perform softly, weaving art into the daily rhythm of intellectual pursuit. The sound of a lyre plucked gently, the soft cadence of spoken verse, or the whisper of a story told quietly in a garden adds subtle layers to the calm atmosphere. Art and scholarship coexist harmoniously, enhancing reflection, sparking curiosity, and nurturing a holistic sense of understanding. In this serene environment, Alexandria itself becomes a backdrop that mirrors the library's ethos. The gentle hum of the harbor, the distant laughter of citizens, and the soft clatter of carts on stone streets exist in harmony with the calm interior. Here, the pace of life is slowed, allowing knowledge to breathe and flourish. The library stands as a beacon of patient accumulation of wisdom, a sanctuary where human curiosity is respected, nurtured, and allowed to unfold naturally. And so, as you imagine a library in its quiet grandeur, you sense the immense dedication that flows through its halls. Every scholar's careful study, every scribe's meticulous transcription, every thoughtful discussion contributes to an enduring rhythm of understanding. It is a space where time seems to stretch gently, where ideas grow slowly and deliberately, and where the gentle pulse of human curiosity forms an unbroken chain across generations. The Library of Alexandria, in this way, is more than a building. It is a living, breathing testament to the quiet, patient, and enduring pursuit of knowledge. The Library of Alexandria, at its height, was a sanctuary not only for the written word, but for the quiet cultivation of human thought, reflection, and imagination. Imagine walking through its vast halls, the air imbued with the faint aroma of papyrus, ink, and beeswax, carrying a gentle warmth that invites you to slow your steps and breathe deeply. Sunlight filters through lattice windows, scattering across stone floors and wooden shelves, illuminating the countless scrolls neatly arranged by subject, origin, and importance. Each scroll seems to hum softly, a delicate vibration of knowledge waiting to be absorbed, while the space itself encourages calm, contemplative movement, guiding visitors on a journey of discovery that unfolds at a serene, deliberate pace. Within these halls, scholars from all corners of the known world pursue knowledge with quiet determination. Picture a Greek astronomer tracing the motions of the planets across a scroll, comparing them with records brought from Babylon, his hand moving slowly, thoughtfully, ensuring that each observation is precise. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults multiple texts on anatomy and herbal remedies, cross-referencing treatments to deepen understanding, murmuring softly as connections reveal themselves. Each scholar contributes to a collective rhythm of learning, a measured flow of curiosity that resonates gently throughout the library, forming a calm but persistent heartbeat of intellectual life. The diversity of the library's collections is staggering, and the atmosphere reflects this richness. In one room, philosophers debate the nature of existence and morality in hushed tones, voices rising and falling like soft waves, each argument considered fully before response is offered. In another, mathematicians and astronomers work with intricate diagrams, slowly mapping stars, calculating distances, and noting patterns that have eluded the human mind for centuries. Meanwhile, poets and storytellers softly recite epic tales and lyrical compositions, allowing the cadence of language to intertwine with the rhythmic scratch of scribes copying texts. The library becomes a sanctuary for both analytical thought and creative inspiration, each discipline reinforcing the other in a gentle, harmonious dance. Even the act of transcription is meditative. Scribes copy text with careful attention, unrolling fragile scrolls, tracing each character with steady hands, correcting mistakes thoughtfully, and discussing difficult passages in low, deliberate tones. Mistakes are addressed patiently, and interpretations are weighed carefully, ensuring that knowledge is preserved with precision and respect. Every act of copying becomes a ritual, a sacred link between the past and future, where human thought is nurtured and protected. The library itself seems to breathe with these ongoing acts, alive not in sound but in the steady rhythm of intellectual endeavor. The courtyards and gardens of the library provide spaces for reflection and quiet discourse. Olive trees sway gently in the breeze, fountains ripple softly, and flowering shrubs create pockets of shade and serenity. Scholars stroll along winding paths, discussing ideas in measured voices or walking silently, absorbed in contemplation. One might share a recently discovered medicinal remedy from India, while another demonstrates a geometric principle from Babylon. These exchanges are unhurried and respectful, allowing the slow cultivation of understanding and the careful weaving together of knowledge from across cultures. Here, Alexandria becomes a living network of ideas, where the flow of thought is gentle but profound. The library's architectural design further enhances its rhythm of calm and reflection. High ceilings create openness without overwhelming, arches guide the eye and body naturally, and windows frame gardens and distant views of the harbor. Benches and tables are placed thoughtfully, encouraging both individual study and quiet collaboration. Even movement through the halls becomes intentional, a slow, meditative journey that allows the mind to wander while remaining focused. Every element of the building reinforces the ethos of patience, contemplation, and the deliberate pursuit of understanding. Daily life in a library follows a rhythm that balances work, study, and reflection. Mornings are marked by the gentle illumination of sunlight, prompting scholars to unroll scrolls and settle into focused study. Midday allows pauses for reflection or quiet discussion in shaded courtyards. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, or comparing texts from distant lands, while evenings see lanterns casting warm light over study tables as discussions and work continue softly into the night. This rhythm is steady, intentional, and unhurried, supporting the slow accumulation of knowledge and fostering a profound sense of continuity and calm. Even as the library hums quietly with activity, it fosters creativity alongside scholarship. Musicians and poets perform softly, complementing the scholarly work and enriching the atmosphere. The gentle strumming of a lyre, the soft cadence of recited poetry, and the occasional whispered story combine with the quiet rustle of scrolls and pens, creating a serene, multisensory environment. Art and scholarship coexist harmoniously, each enhancing the other, cultivating both reflection and inspiration in a way that is soothing, immersive, and deeply engaging. Through all this, the library's influence radiates far beyond its walls. Knowledge flows outward slowly, deliberately, and purposefully, through copies, translations, and returning scholars who carry insights to distant lands. The library acts as a quiet hub, connecting civilizations and ideas across time and space. It is a place where human curiosity is celebrated, nurtured, and allowed to unfold naturally. Every scholar, every scribe, and every scroll contributes to the slow, steady river of understanding, creating a legacy of calm, deliberate intellectual exploration that endures across generations. And so, the Library of Alexandria stands as more than a collection of texts. It is a sanctuary of thought, reflection, and culture. Its halls pulse with quiet energy, its gardens encourage contemplation, and its scholars move with calm purpose, ensuring that knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored. Here, time slows, curiosity is nurtured, and the human mind can engage fully with the depth and breadth of wisdom accumulated across centuries. It is a place where understanding is cultivated slowly, deliberately, and reverently, a timeless refuge for learning and imagination, inviting all who enter to experience the serene beauty of intellectual discovery. The Library of Alexandria, at the height of its grandeur, stands as a testament not only to the pursuit of knowledge but to the gentle, deliberate care with which humanity can nurture and preserve understanding. Imagine wandering through its vast halls, the soft sunlight streaming through lattice windows, illuminating scrolls carefully arranged in orderly rows along wooden shelves. The air is faintly scented with papyrus, ink, and beeswax, carrying a calm warmth that invites you to pause, breathe, and absorb the weight of centuries held in each scroll. Every movement here feels deliberate, intentional, as if the building itself guides you toward patience, reflection, and the slow unfolding of insight. Scholars move quietly, almost meditatively, through the halls. Picture a Greek astronomer, eyes tracing constellations on a scroll, comparing notes brought from Babylon, murmuring softly as patterns emerge and connections take shape. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults several texts on herbal remedies, cross-referencing treatments with observations from distant lands, each note added to a growing body of shared understanding. Their hands move slowly, their gestures measured, their voices low, contributing to a rhythm of calm inquiry that fills the library with a gentle, enduring energy. In this space, thought is neither rushed nor forced. It is nurtured, allowed to grow at its natural pace. The library's collections are astonishing in breadth and depth. Scrolls on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history, literature, and poetry coexist in harmonious order. In one room, philosophers debate the nature of existence, morality, and the cosmos in measured tones, allowing each idea to be fully considered before response. In another, mathematicians and astronomers work with diagrams, mapping stars, calculating distances, and tracing patterns that stretch across time. Nearby, Poets softly recite epics and lyrical compositions, their cadence mingling with the subtle scratch of scribe pens and the rustle of parchment. The library becomes a sanctuary where analytical thought and creative expression coexist in quiet equilibrium, each enriching the other. Even the act of copying text is treated as a meditative ritual. Scribes carefully unroll delicate scrolls, trace each character with steady hands, correct errors thoughtfully, and discuss ambiguous passages in hushed tones. Every gesture transcription is deliberate, preserving both the content and the integrity of human thought for future generations. In this way, the library itself becomes a living organism, its pulse measured in the careful accumulation of wisdom, the patient attention to detail, and the gentle reverence for knowledge that sustains it. The courtyard and garden provide spaces for reflection and contemplation, offering a rhythm of calm that complements the halls of study. Olive trees sway softly in the breeze. Fountains ripple quietly, and flowering shrubs create pockets of shade for quiet discussion or solitary thought. Scholars stroll slowly along winding paths, occasionally pause and converse in gentle tones, or consider a passage they had just read. The exchange of ideas flows like a quiet river, bridging distant lands and diverse cultures, allowing the library to serve as both a physical and intellectual crossroads, where knowledge moves fluidly yet deliberately. The library's architectural design reinforces the sense of calm and purpose. High ceilings provide openness without intimidation, arches guide the eye in movement naturally, and windows frame serene views of gardens and distant harbors. Benches, tables, and workspaces are thoughtfully arranged, encouraging both solitary reflection and collaborative study. Even the act of moving to the library becomes meditative, a slow journey in which the mind is allowed to wander freely while remaining anchored in curiosity and contemplation. The building itself teaches patience, encouraging visitors to approach learning as a gradual, immersive process rather than a hurried endeavor. Daily life in the library follows a rhythm of balance, harmonizing study, discussion, and reflection. Mornings are filled with soft light illuminating scrolls as scholars settle into focused work. Midday allows pauses for a quiet conversation or contemplation in shaded courtyards. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, and careful study, while evenings see lanterns casting warm light over desks as discussions, copying, and reflection continue softly into the night. The pace is steady, unhurried, and intentional, cultivating a sense of continuity and mindfulness in all scholarly activity. Cross-cultural exchange thrives here. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond engage in deliberate, respectful dialogue, sharing insights and learning from each other. A Babylonian mathematician may explain complex calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal remedies to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are slow, careful, and measured, ensuring that knowledge is not only transmitted, but absorbed with understanding and reverence. The library becomes a living web of ideas, a center where wisdom flows gently yet profoundly across borders, languages, and generations. Even amidst the pursuit of knowledge, creativity finds space. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute to the library's atmosphere, performing softly to enrich the intellectual environment. The gentle strumming of a lyre, the cadence of recited poetry, and whispered stories combine with the subtle sounds of writing and turning scrolls, creating a calm, multisensory tapestry that nurtures reflection, curiosity, and inspiration. Art and scholarship exist in harmony, supporting one another and fostering a rich, immersive experience for all who enter. The library's influence stretches far beyond its walls. Knowledge flows outward through copies, translations, and scholars returning home with new insights. Ideas are shared slowly, deliberately, and with care, touching minds across the Mediterranean and beyond. Alexandria becomes a hub not only of preservation, but of gentle intellectual dissemination, a place where human curiosity is both honored and cultivated. Every scroll preserved, every discussion held, and every careful transcription contributes to a quiet, enduring current of wisdom that carries through generations. In the gentle rhythm of its halls, gardens, and courtyards, the Library of Alexandria embodies a timeless lesson, that the pursuit of understanding is most profound when approached with patience, reverence, and deliberate care. Every gesture within it, from the soft rustle of parchment to the measured steps of a scholar, reinforces a culture of calm inquiry, reflective thought, and mindful learning. Here, The mind can engage fully with the depth of human knowledge, moving slowly but steadily, absorbing the richness of wisdom accumulated across centuries. And so, the Library of Alexandria, in all its serene grandeur, stands as a sanctuary of human intellect, creativity, and culture. Its halls pulse with quiet energy. Its gardens offer spaces of meditation. Its scholars move with measured purpose. Knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored. Time slows within its walls, allowing curiosity to flourish, ideas to take root, and understanding to unfold naturally. The library is more than a collection of texts. It is a living, breathing testament to the deliberate, patient, and enduring pursuit of wisdom, a place where the human mind can rest, explore, and be gently guided by the quiet beauty of knowledge and imagination. The Library of Alexandria, in its serene and sprawling magnificence, represents far more than a mere collection of scrolls. It is a sanctuary of human thought, a place where knowledge is gathered, preserved, and allowed to breathe slowly and deliberately. Imagine stepping into a hall so vast that your footsteps echo faintly across polished stone floors, the soft golden light of the Mediterranean sun streaming through lattice windows, falling in gentle patterns over countless wooden shelves lined with scrolls. The air carries a faint fragrance of ink, aged papyrus, and beeswax, enveloping in a calm that seems almost tangible. Here, in this quiet sanctuary, every scroll, every shelf, and every scholar contributes to a gentle rhythm of discovery, contemplation, and reflection, a rhythm that encourages visitors to move slowly, breathe deeply, and immerse themselves fully in the vast expanse of human knowledge. Within the library, scholars work with steady, deliberate focus. Picture a Greek astronomer tracing the movements of stars across a scroll, pausing thoughtfully as he compares his observations with ancient Babylonian records. Nearby, an Egyptian physician studies a collection of texts detailing herbal remedies, tracing patterns and testing connections, murmuring softly to himself as he pieces together centuries of accumulated wisdom. Each gesture is careful, each movement intentional. The act of learning is a measured process, unfolding like a quiet river, one thought at a time. The atmosphere is alive with the soft hum of human curiosity, yet it is a hum devoid of hurry, infused instead with patience, reverence, and mindfulness. The library's collections are staggeringly diverse, reflecting the breadth of human inquiry. In one hall, mathematicians and astronomers work with diagrams, charts, and celestial maps, their eyes following the slow, deliberate patterns of stars and planets. In another, philosophers engage in measured discussion, exploring morality, existence, and the nature of knowledge itself. Nearby, poets recite epic tales in soft voices, allowing the rhythm of words to mingle gently with the scratch of scribes' pen copying delicate characters onto fresh papyrus. The library is a place where logic and creativity coexist in harmony, each discipline enriching the other, creating a multi-layered environment of learning, reflection, and inspiration. The act of transcription, essential to the library's mission, is itself a practice of meditation and reverence. Scribes carefully unroll fragile scrolls, their hands moving slowly to trace each character with precision. Mistakes are corrected with gentle deliberation, and ambiguous passages spark quiet, thoughtful discussion. Each copied text is a link in a chain that connects past and future generations, ensuring that the wisdom of distant lands and ancient thinkers is preserved intact. In this careful, deliberate process, the library itself seems to breathe, alive with a steady pulse of knowledge being safeguarded, extended, and shared. The library's gardens and courtyards offer spaces for contemplation and informal exchange, reinforcing the calm rhythm of the halls. Olive trees sway softly in the breeze, fountains ripple gently, and flowers bloom quietly in shaded corners. Scholars stroll along winding paths, occasionally pausing to discuss a new insight or to meditate on a challenging passage. Conversations flow slowly, measured and thoughtful, like water winding its way through a gentle stream. Through these exchanges, ideas from across the known world intermingle, bridging cultures and disciplines, fostering understanding and collaboration that extends far beyond Alexandria itself. The architecture of the library contributes to its serene atmosphere. High ceilings create a sense of openness without overwhelm. Arches guide the eye in movement naturally, and windows frame views of gardens and distant harbors. Benches and workspaces are carefully positioned to encourage both solitary reflection and quiet collaboration. The very layout guides visitors to move with intention, to absorb knowledge at a deliberate pace, and to engage with the environment thoughtfully. Every element, the placement of scrolls, the direction of pathways, the gentle interplay of light and shadow, is designed to nurture focus, reflection, and calm. Daily life in the library follows a steady, intentional rhythm. Mornings are marked by soft sunlight illuminating scrolls and inspiring fresh focus. Midday provides pauses for quiet discussion, reflection, or gentle walks in courtyards. Afternoons are filled with transcription, cataloging, and collaborative study, while evenings see lanterns casting warm, steady light over tables as work continues softly into the night. The pace is never rushed. Every scholar, every scribe, and every visitor is encouraged to move and think with measured care. This rhythm ensures that learning is a continual, immersive, and calming process, where knowledge accumulates organically rather than being forced. Cross-cultural exchange thrives in this environment. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond meet in low voices, sharing ideas, observations, and insights. A mathematician from Babylon may explain a principle to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal remedies to an Egyptian colleague. These interactions are unhurried and deliberate, emphasizing understanding over speed, respect over competition. The library functions as a living network of ideas, where wisdom moves gently across borders, languages, and traditions, enriching every mind that enters its halls. Creativity flourishes alongside scholarship. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to the library's atmosphere, their gentle performances blending with the soft rustle of scrolls and the steady scratch of pens. The sound of a lyre, the cadence of recited verse, and whispered stories create a multisensory environment that nurtures both reflection and imagination. Here, art and scholarship are intertwined, reinforcing the sense of calm, immersion, and reverence for human achievement. Even as knowledge flows outward from the library through copies, translations, and returning scholars, its essence remains gentle and deliberate. Alexandria itself becomes a hub of slow, purposeful intellectual exchange, a city where ideas are shared with care, cultivated patiently, and allowed to take root across distant lands. The library's influence extends across centuries, not through force or haste, but through careful preservation, thoughtful dissemination, and the quiet guidance of curiosity nurtured with respect. In every corner, every scroll, every carefully recorded observation, the library teaches the enduring value of patience, reverence, and the slow, deliberate pursuit of understanding. Time within its walls stretches gently, allowing thought to expand and flourish, ideas to intertwine, and knowledge to accumulate steadily. The human mind is invited to engage fully, to wander slowly, and to absorb the wisdom of generations without rush or distraction. And so, the Library of Alexandria stands as a sanctuary of intellect, creativity, and human curiosity. Its halls pulse with calm energy, its gardens offer spaces of meditation, and its scholars move with quiet, deliberate purpose. Knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored, flowing gently but persistently into the world beyond. Within the serene and timeless environment, understanding unfolds naturally. Curiosity is nurtured patiently, and the human spirit is invited to explore the boundless beauty of thought and imagination at a deliberate, contemplative pace. The Library of Alexandria, in its quiet grandeur, is more than a mere repository of scrolls and manuscripts. It is a sanctuary where the pursuit of knowledge unfolds slowly, deliberately, and with reverence for the wisdom of generations. Imagine stepping into its vast halls, the sunlight streaming softly through lattice windows, casting gentle patterns across polished stone floors and rows of wooden shelves filled with countless scrolls. The air carries a delicate fragrance of ink, papyrus, and beeswax, creating an atmosphere that encourages calm, measured breathing, and the quiet unfolding of curiosity. Every movement here, every step, every turn of scroll, every whisper conversation, feels intentional, as if the very space itself guides visitors to approach learning with patience, reflection, and mindfulness. Within these halls, scholars move with quiet purpose. Picture a Greek astronomer tracing the orbits of stars across an ancient scroll, murmuring softly as he compares his observations with Babylonian records, pausing often to reflect on patterns and alignments. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults multiple medical texts, cross-referencing remedies and notations from distant lands, ensuring that each piece of knowledge is understood fully before being applied or recorded. The pace is slow, deliberate, and meditative, with every action contributing to the library's enduring rhythm of calm inquiry. Here, knowledge is not rushed, nor is it consumed hastily. It is allowed to unfold gradually, like a soft sunrise illuminating the mind. The library's collections are vast and diverse, encompassing mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history, literature, poetry, and more. In one quiet room, mathematicians trace geometric patterns, noting their relationships and implications, while philosophers debate the nature of existence, morality, and human purpose in measured tones, allowing each idea to be fully considered before response. In another hall, poets softly recite epics and lyrical verses, the cadence of language blending harmoniously with the muted scratching of scribes copying delicate characters onto fresh papyrus. Each discipline complements the others, creating a multi-layered environment where analytical thought and creative expression coexist in gentle balance, fostering deep contemplation and immersive learning. Even the process of copying text is treated as a meditative, almost sacred activity. Scribes unroll fragile scrolls with care, moving their hands slowly as they trace each character with precision, correcting errors with thoughtful deliberation, and engaging in hushed discussions when passages are unclear. Every act of transcription strengthens the link between past and future generations, preserving wisdom with respect and mindfulness. The library itself seems alive, its heartbeat reflected in the steady, patient accumulation of knowledge and continuous, deliberate work of those who dwell within it. The courtyard and gardens offer spaces for reflection and quiet interaction, reinforcing the calm rhythm of the halls. Olive trees sway gently, fountains ripple softly, and flowering shrubs provide shaded corners where scholars can converse quietly or meditate in solitude. Picture a group of scholars strolling along winding paths, discussing insights from texts they have studied, pausing occasionally to reflect in silence or to admire the play of sunlight on the water. Here, knowledge flows gently across cultures and disciplines, bridging distant lands through patient observation, careful dialogue, and mutual respect. The library's architecture enhances its serene, deliberate atmosphere. High ceilings create an expansive sense of openness without overwhelming the senses. Arches guide the eyes and footsteps naturally, and windows frame views of gardens, fountains, and the distant Mediterranean harbor. Benches, tables, and workspaces are thoughtfully arranged to support both solitary reflection and collaborative study. Every structural element, from the layout of corridors to the positioning of scrolls, encourages a slow, mindful engagement with knowledge, allowing scholars to move and think with calm focus. Daily life within the library follows a gentle rhythm, balancing study, transcription, discussion, and reflection. Morning light illuminates scrolls as scholars settle into their work, while midday offers quiet pauses in shaded courtyards for conversation or contemplation. Afternoons are devoted to copying texts, cataloging, or careful study, while evenings bring the warm glow of lanterns over tables, extending study and discussion into the quiet night. The pace is never rushed. Each scholar's movement, each scribe's stroke of the pen, contributes to a steady, meditative flow of intellectual activity that allows knowledge to accumulate thoughtfully and thoroughly. Cross-cultural exchange is a hallmark of the library's environment. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond engage in gentle, respectful dialogue, sharing insights, debating interpretations, and comparing observations. A Babylonian mathematician may explain complex calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal remedies to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are deliberate and measured, ensuring that understanding is deep, precise, and shared in harmony. The library functions as a living network of knowledge, where wisdom flows slowly but steadily across languages, cultures, and generations. Creativity intertwines with scholarship, creating a rich and immersive atmosphere. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to the library's soundscape, their performances blending with the gentle rustle of scrolls and the soft scratching of pens. A lyre's strings, a softly recited verse, or a whispered tale combined with scholarly work, fostering both reflection and inspiration. Here, intellectual and artistic pursuits coexist harmoniously, each enriching the other in a gentle, immersive rhythm that nurtures the mind and soul. Even as knowledge flows outward through copies, translations, and traveling scholars, the essence of the library remains calm and deliberate. Alexandria becomes a hub of thoughtful intellectual exchange, a center where curiosity is encouraged Insight is valued, and learning is allowed to develop at its natural pace. Every scroll preserved, every discussion held, every careful transcription contributes to a slow, enduring current of understanding that spans generations, allowing the library's influence to ripple quietly yet profoundly through the world. And so, the Library of Alexandria exists as a sanctuary for the patient and deliberate pursuit of knowledge. Its halls resonate with quiet energy, its gardens offer spaces for reflection, and its scholars move with measured purpose. Knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored, flowing gently into the world while nurturing deep understanding. Within the serene and timeless environment, the human mind is invited to engage fully, to reflect, and to explore the vastness of human thought and imagination, guided by the enduring, gentle rhythm of curiosity and discovery. The Library of Alexandria at its zenith is not simply a building filled with scrolls. It is a sanctuary where the slow, deliberate cultivation of knowledge and human understanding unfolds with reverence and care. Imagine stepping into a vast hall where sunlight filters through lattice windows, falling softly across polished stone floors and the endless rows of wooden shelves lined with scrolls. The air is rich with the subtle fragrances of ink, papyrus, and beeswax, carrying a calm warmth that encourages deliberate movement, thoughtful breathing, and quiet contemplation. Every gesture, every step, every turn of a scroll is intentional, as if the very space itself teaches patience, reflection, and immersion in the world of ideas. Within these serene halls, scholars move with gentle purpose. Picture a Greek astronomer carefully charting the positions of stars, comparing them with Babylonian records, and pausing thoughtfully as connections reveal themselves. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults multiple medical texts, cross-referencing herbal remedies and anatomical observations with great care and patience. Each movement, each examination, each murmur of thought contributes to a deliberate rhythm of study, a calm, persistent pulse of intellectual energy that permeates the entire library. Time here is measured, not rushed, allowing ideas to unfold naturally and knowledge to grow slowly, steadily, and profoundly. The diversity of the library's collections is staggering. Mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, history, literature, medicine, and poetry coexist harmoniously, each offering a unique lens through which scholars can explore the world. In one chamber, philosophers debate existence, ethics, and human nature in low, measured voices, allowing each idea to be fully digested before response is offered. In another, mathematicians and astronomers trace geometric patterns, map celestial bodies, and calculate distances with meticulous attention, every movement precise and unhurried. Elsewhere, poets softly recite epic tales, their cadence intertwining with the rustle of scrolls and the scratch of pens, creating a gentle symphony of knowledge and creativity. Each discipline enhances the others, forming a layered, immersive environment that nurtures reflection, curiosity, and inspiration. Even the act of transcription is treated as a contemplative, almost sacred practice. Scribes carefully unroll delicate scrolls, their hands steady as they trace each character, correcting mistakes thoughtfully, and engaging in quiet discussion when passages are ambiguous. Each copied text becomes a link between generations, preserving insights for the future with meticulous care. Through this continuous, deliberate work, the library itself seems alive, a living organism whose heartbeat is reflected in the rhythm of careful study, transcription, and reflection. Every gesture, no matter how small, contributes to the calm accumulation of knowledge that defines Alexandria's intellectual heart. The library's gardens and courtyards provide spaces for reflection and gentle social interaction, reinforcing its tranquil atmosphere. Olive trees sway softly in the breeze, fountains ripple quietly, and flowering shrubs create pockets of shaded serenity. Scholars stroll along winding paths, pause and share insights, compare texts, or reflect silently on the scrolls they have studied. The flow of ideas is unhurried, bridging cultures, disciplines, and distant lands, allowing knowledge to be exchanged slowly, thoughtfully, and with respect. Here, Alexandria becomes a living network of ideas, where wisdom circulates steadily, gently touching all who enter the library's doors. Architectural design complements this atmosphere of calm and reflection. High ceilings convey openness without overwhelming. Arches guide movement naturally, and windows frame views of serene gardens and the distant harbor. Workspaces, benches, and tables are arranged thoughtfully, facilitating both quiet individual study and small, collaborative discussions. Every element, from placement of scrolls to the pathways to the halls, encourages deliberate exploration, ensuring that visitors engage fully with the knowledge surrounding them. The library itself becomes a teacher, guiding scholars toward mindful observation, patience, and thoughtful inquiry. Daily life within the library follows a measured, harmonious rhythm. Mornings are bathed in gentle sunlight as scholars settle into study, unrolling scrolls with quiet anticipation. Midday brings pauses for reflection, discussion, or slow walks in shaded courtyards. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, and collaborative inquiry, while evenings see lanterns casting warm, steady light over tables as work continues softly into the night. The pace is intentional, supporting the slow accumulation of knowledge while fostering clarity, insight, and thoughtful engagement with each new discovery. Cross-cultural exchange is a cornerstone of the library's enduring influence. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond share insights, demonstrate practices, and debate interpretations in measured tones. A Babylonian mathematician may explain calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates the properties of exotic herbs to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are unhurried, deliberate, and deeply respectful, ensuring that understanding is profound, precise, and shared in harmony. In this way, the library functions as a living network of knowledge, a hub where ideas flow slowly yet powerfully across borders and generations. Creativity thrives alongside scholarship in Alexandria. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to the library's atmosphere, their gentle performances harmonizing with the subtle rustle of scrolls and the meticulous work of scribes. The cadence of a lyre, the rhythm of spoken verse, or the quiet telling of a story creates a multisensory environment that nurtures both reflection and inspiration. Intellectual and artistic pursuits coexist seamlessly, reinforcing the library's calm, immersive, and contemplative ambience. Even as knowledge spreads outward through copies, translations, and returning scholars, the library's essence remains deliberate and enduring. Alexandria becomes a center of measured intellectual exchange, where ideas are cultivated patiently, respected fully, and allowed to flourish at their natural pace. Every scroll preserved, every transcription completed, every discussion held contributes to a slow, enduring current of understanding, reaching across time and space. The library's influence is gentle yet profound, a quiet river of wisdom flowing steadily through civilizations. And so, the Library of Alexandria exists as a sanctuary for the patient and deliberate pursuit of knowledge. Its halls pulse with calm energy, its gardens offer spaces for reflection, and its scholars move with measured purpose. Knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored, flowing gently into the wider world while nurturing deep comprehension. Within the serene, timeless environment, the human mind is invited to engage fully, to wander thoughtfully, and to absorb the vast richness of human thought, guided by the enduring rhythm of curiosity, reflection, and discovery. The Library of Alexandria, at the height of its glory, is a place where the pursuit of knowledge unfolds with deliberate patience, reverence, and quiet dignity. Imagine stepping into its vast halls, the warm Mediterranean sunlight filtering through lattice windows, casting gentle patterns across polished stone floors, and the countless rows of wooden shelves lined with scrolls. The air carries a soft fragrance of ink, papyrus, and beeswax, enveloping visitors in a sense of calm and stillness that invites slow, intentional movement. Every gesture here, from turning a fragile scroll to pausing in contemplation, is imbued with mindfulness, as if the very architecture and atmosphere of the library guide all who enter to slow their pace, breathe deeply, and immerse themselves fully in the unfolding of knowledge. Scholars move quietly through these halls, their steps measured and deliberate. Picture a Greek astronomer meticulously tracing the movement of planets across a scroll, comparing his calculations to ancient Babylonian observations, pausing frequently to reflect on patterns and anomalies. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults several medical texts, cross-referencing remedies, diagnoses, and treatments with care and thoughtful consideration. Every action is precise, every thought deliberate, contributing to a rhythm of calm intellectual pursuit that defines the library. Time flows differently here. It stretches and deepens, allowing ideas to take root, grow, and mature at a natural, unhurried pace. The library's collections are astonishing in their diversity and depth. Scrolls on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history, literature, poetry, and music coexist in a careful, thoughtful order. In one chamber, philosophers engage in measured, respectful debates about the nature of existence, ethics, and the cosmos, allowing each argument to be fully considered before responding. In another, mathematicians and astronomers examine intricate diagrams, calculating distances, charting the stars, and exploring patterns with patient precision. Elsewhere, poets and storytellers softly recite epic narratives, their words interweaving with the rustle of scrolls and the scratch of pens, creating a gentle harmony of intellect and imagination. Each discipline complements the others, forming an immersive environment where learning is both deep and multidimensional. The act of transcription is itself a meditative, almost sacred practice. Scribes unroll fragile scrolls with great care, their hands steady as they trace each symbol, correcting errors thoughtfully and engaging in hushed discussion over ambiguous passages. Every copied text becomes a bridge connecting past, present, and future, ensuring that knowledge is preserved, respected, and transmitted with precision. In this way, the library is more than a building. It is a living organism, pulsing with the quiet rhythm of study, reflection, and reverent care for the wisdom contained within its walls. The library's gardens and courtyards provide serene spaces for reflection, quiet dialogue, and gentle observation. Olive trees sway softly, fountains ripple with soothing cadence, and flowering shrubs create shaded retreats where scholars may pause to meditate or converse. Picture scholars walking slowly along winding paths, pausing occasionally to share insights or reflect in silence on the texts they have studied. Knowledge moves gently here, bridging disciplines, cultures, and lands, creating a slow but powerful current of understanding that flows steadily from Alexandria outward to the broader world. Architectural design enhances the library's tranquil, contemplative atmosphere. High ceilings provide a sense of openness without overwhelming, arches guide movement naturally, and windows frame views of gardens, fountains, and the distant harbor. Workspaces, benches, and tables are thoughtfully positioned to facilitate both solitary reflection and quiet collaborative study. Even the layout of corridors, stairways, and reading areas encourages deliberate movement, allowing visitors to engage deeply with the knowledge around them, fostering mindfulness, focus, and a measured pace of learning. Daily life within the library is guided by a harmonious rhythm. Mornings begin with soft light illuminating scrolls as scholars settle into study. Midday allows pauses for quiet conversation or solitary reflection in shaded courtyards. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, and careful analysis, while evenings see lanterns casting warm, steady light over tables as study continues into the night. This rhythm cultivates balance, ensuring that learning is immersive, continuous, and unhurried. Knowledge is absorbed slowly, allowing understanding to deepen naturally, like roots growing steadily into rich soil. Cross-cultural exchange is central to the library's enduring impact. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond gather in calm, respectful dialogue, sharing observations, insights, and techniques. A Babylonian mathematician might explain calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal treatments to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are patient, deliberate, and deeply respectful, ensuring that knowledge is not simply transmitted, but absorbed and understood fully. The library becomes a living nexus where wisdom flows gently across borders, languages, and generations. Creativity thrives alongside scholarship. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to the library's ambience, their art harmonizing with the quiet rustle of scrolls and the meticulous work of scribes. The gentle cadence of a lyre, the rhythm of recited verse, or a whispered tale complements scholarly endeavor, nurturing both reflection and inspiration. Art and intellect coexist seamlessly, creating a rich, multisensory environment that cultivates calm, immersion, and reverent engagement with human achievement. The library's influence stretches far beyond its walls. Knowledge flows outward through copies, translations, and traveling scholars who carry insights to distant lands. Alexandria becomes a hub of slow, deliberate intellectual exchange, where ideas are nurtured patiently and allowed to take root gradually. Every scroll preserved, every transcription completed, and every discussion held contributes to a slow, enduring river of understanding, a current that will touch minds far beyond the city itself. Its impact is profound yet gentle, extending across time and space through careful preservation, thoughtful exchange, and the nurturing of curiosity. And so, the Library of Alexandria stands as a sanctuary of deliberate, patient learning. Its halls pulse with quiet energy, its gardens invite reflection, and its scholars move with measured purpose. Knowledge is preserved, shared, and honored, flowing gently outward while nurturing deep comprehension. Within this serene, timeless environment, the human mind is invited to engage fully, to wander thoughtfully, and to absorb the vast expanse of human thought. Guided by the steady, gentle rhythm of curiosity, reflection, and discovery. Here, time slows, ideas flourish, and the enduring beauty of understanding unfolds naturally, one thoughtful moment at a time. The Library of Alexandria, in all its magnificent calm and order, is far more than a collection of scrolls. It is a sanctuary of human curiosity, a space where the slow, deliberate cultivation of knowledge allows ideas to flourish with care and reverence. Imagine walking along the high, sunlit corridors, the light filtering through lattice windows to form gentle patterns on polished stone floors, and the towering rows of wooden shelves brimming with scrolls. The air carries a subtle fragrance of papyrus, ink, and beeswax, each inhalation inviting a deeper sense of calm, focus, and presence. Every motion here, the soft turning of scroll, the careful passage of a scholar between rooms, the whispered discussion, feels intentional, as though the library itself guides each visitor to slow down, breathe deeply, and immerse themselves fully in contemplation. Scholars traverse the halls with measured steps, their movements and thoughts intertwined in a quiet rhythm of study. Picture a Greek astronomer slowly tracing positions of stars on a delicate scroll, comparing notes with Babylonian calculations, pausing often to reflect on cosmic patterns and alignments. Nearby, an Egyptian physician consults medical texts, examining herbal remedies and anatomical notes brought from distant lands, moving with care and patience as he cross-references each observation. Each act, whether reading, writing, calculating, or debating, is conducted with mindfulness, contributing to a steady, meditative pulse that fills the library, encouraging patience, reflection, and the deliberate unfolding of knowledge. The library's collections are extraordinary in their breadth and depth, encompassing mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history, literature, poetry, and music. In one quiet chamber, philosophers debate the nature of existence, morality, and knowledge itself, speaking in measured tones that allow every idea to be absorbed fully before response. In another room, mathematicians and astronomers work with diagrams and charts, calculating distances, tracing geometric patterns, and charting celestial bodies with precise, deliberate care. Elsewhere, poets softly recite epic tales, the cadence of their words weaving seamlessly with the gentle rustle of scrolls and the scratch of scribe pens, creating a subtle harmony of intellect and imagination. Each discipline enhances the other, creating a layered, immersive environment where curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking coexist in tranquil balance. The process of transcription is treated with reverent care, almost as a form of meditation. Scribes unroll fragile scrolls with great attention, tracing each character with steady hands, correcting errors thoughtfully, and discussing ambiguous passages in hushed, deliberate tones. Every copied text is a link between past, present, and future, ensuring that wisdom is preserved with care and accuracy. The library becomes a living organism through this ongoing, deliberate work, pulsing with the quiet rhythm of study, reflection, and the reverent accumulation of human understanding. The library's gardens and courtyards offer spaces for contemplation, conversation, and measured exchange. Olive trees sway gently in the breeze. Fountains ripple softly, and flowering shrubs create pockets of shade where scholars pause to meditate or converse quietly. Picture scholars walking slowly along winding paths, stopping to share insights, compare observations, or simply reflect in silence on texts they have studied. Ideas move gradually and thoughtfully, bridging cultures, disciplines, and continents, creating a network of knowledge that flows steadily, deliberately, and with profound respect for its depth and complexity. Architectural design reinforces this atmosphere of calm and reflection. High ceilings provide openness without overwhelming the senses. Arches guide movement naturally, and windows frame views of gardens, fountains, and the distant harbor. Benches and tables are positioned thoughtfully to encourage both solitary study and collaborative dialogue. Even the library's layout promotes deliberate movement and mindful engagement, guiding visitors through spaces where they can absorb information fully and interact with ideas intentionally. Daily life in the library is governed by a measured, harmonious rhythm. Mornings begin with soft sunlight illuminating scrolls as scholars settle into study. Midday provides quiet moments for reflection, discussion, or slow strolls through gardens. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, and careful analysis, while evenings see lanterns casting warm light over tables as study continues softly into the night. This unhurried rhythm allows knowledge to accumulate slowly and thoughtfully, fostering deeper comprehension and insight. Cross-cultural exchange is central to the library's enduring legacy. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond engage in respectful, deliberate dialogue, sharing observations, insights, and discoveries. A Babylonian mathematician may explain calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal treatments to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are slow, patient, and precise, ensuring that knowledge is transmitted not just accurately but fully understood. The library becomes a living network where wisdom flows steadily across borders, languages, and generations. Creativity and scholarship coexist in a seamless, immersive environment. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to the library's soundscape, complementing the quiet rustle of scrolls and the meticulous work of scribes. The cadence of a lyre, the gentle rhythm of recited verse, or the soft telling of a story nurtures both reflection and imagination. Intellectual and artistic pursuits reinforce each other, cultivating an environment that is as calming as it is stimulating for the mind and spirit. Even as knowledge spreads outward through copies, translations, and traveling scholars, the library's essence remains deliberate and enduring. Alexandria becomes a hub of measured intellectual exchange, where ideas are nurtured with patience and allowed to take root gradually. Every preserved scroll, every transcription, every discussion contributes to a slow, enduring current of understanding that flows across time and space, touching civilizations far beyond the library's walls. In this serene, timeless environment, the Library of Alexandria invites the human mind to engage fully, to wander thoughtfully, and to absorb the vast richness of human thought. Time stretches gently within its halls, allowing curiosity to flourish, ideas to intertwine, and understanding to unfold naturally. Its quiet, deliberate rhythm fosters deep reflection, careful consideration, and profound connection to the wisdom accumulated over centuries. The library is a living testament to the patient, deliberate, and enduring pursuit of knowledge, a sanctuary where human curiosity and imagination are nurtured, honored, and allowed to expand at their own tranquil pace. The Library of Alexandria, in its final and most contemplative moments, stands as the epitome of human aspiration toward knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It is more than a mere building or a collection of scrolls. It is a sanctuary where curiosity is nurtured, where learning unfolds with patience, reverence, and quiet reflection. Imagine stepping into vast, sunlit halls one last time, the warm Mediterranean light cascading through lattice windows, creating soft, shifting patterns on stone floors and rows of wooden shelves lined with scrolls from every corner of the known world. The air is imbued with a delicate scent of papyrus, ink, and beeswax, inviting a slow, measured breath, a pause, a sense of calm and presence that settles over every visitor and scholar within its walls. Scholars move quietly, their footsteps careful and deliberate. Picture a Greek astronomer tracing planetary motions on a fragile scroll, pausing thoughtfully to compare his calculations with Babylonian records. Nearby, an Egyptian physician studies herbal remedies and anatomical observations, cross-referencing texts brought from distant lands with meticulous care. Each gesture, each movement, each soft murmur discussion contributes to the library's unhurried rhythm of intellectual pursuit. Here, knowledge is not rushed. It is allowed to unfold slowly, deliberately, and with profound respect for its depth and complexity. The library's collections are awe-inspiring in scope and diversity. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history, literature, poetry, and music coexist, forming a tapestry of human achievement and understanding. In one quiet room, philosophers debate existence, ethics, and the nature of knowledge itself, their voices low and measured, allowing every idea to be fully absorbed. In another, mathematicians and astronomers work with intricate diagrams and charts, tracing patterns, mapping the heavens, and calculating distances with painstaking care. Elsewhere, poets and storytellers recite epic tales, the cadence of their words blending seamlessly with the gentle rustle of scrolls and the scratch of scribe pens. Each discipline complements the others, creating a harmonious environment where intellect and imagination thrive together. Transcription and preservation of texts are treated with almost sacred care. Scribes carefully unroll fragile scrolls, tracing each character with steady hands, correcting errors thoughtfully, and engaging in hushed, deliberate discussion when passages are unclear. Every copied text becomes a bridge between generations, preserving wisdom and ensuring that knowledge endures. In this way, the library is not merely a repository, it is a living organism, pulsing with the quiet rhythm of study, reflection, and careful attention to the human pursuit of understanding. The library's gardens and courtyards provide spaces for reflection, conversation, and gentle contemplation. Olive trees sway softly in the breeze. Fountains ripple quietly, and flowering shrubs create pockets of shaded tranquility. Scholars stroll along winding paths, occasionally pausing to exchange insights or reflect silently on the texts they have studied. Knowledge flows slowly here, bridging cultures, disciplines, and continents, fostering understanding and connection that extends far beyond the library's walls. Alexandria becomes a hub where ideas converge, circulate, and gradually spread to distant lands, leaving an enduring mark on civilizations to come. Architecture enhances the library's serene, deliberate atmosphere. High ceilings create a sense of openness, arches guide the eye and footsteps naturally, and windows frame gardens, fountains, and glimpses of the distant harbor. Benches, tables, and workspaces are thoughtfully arranged to support solitary reflection, as well as quiet collaborative study. Every structural detail encourages mindful engagement with knowledge, fostering deliberate exploration and the slow, immersive absorption of ideas. The library itself teaches patience, reflection, and focus, inviting visitors to move and think with intention. Daily life within the library follows a gentle, deliberate rhythm. Mornings are bathed in soft sunlight as scholars unroll scrolls and settle into study. Midday allows quiet reflection, conversation, or slow walks through shaded courtyards. Afternoons are devoted to transcription, cataloging, or careful analysis, while evenings see lanterns casting warm light over desks as study continues softly into the night. The unhurried rhythm ensures that learning is immersive and continuous, allowing knowledge to accumulate thoughtfully over time. Cross-cultural exchange is central to the library's legacy. Scholars from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond gather in measured, respectful dialogue, sharing insights, techniques, and interpretations. A Babylonian mathematician may explain calculations to a Greek student, while an Indian physician demonstrates herbal remedies to an Egyptian healer. These interactions are deliberate, patient, and precise, ensuring that knowledge is not only transmitted but deeply understood. The library becomes a living web of wisdom, connecting diverse ideas, cultures, and generations. Creativity thrives alongside scholarship, enriching the library's calm, contemplative environment. Musicians, poets, and storytellers contribute softly to its atmosphere. Their gentle performances harmonize with the quiet rustle of scrolls and the steady work of scribes. The cadence of a lyre, the rhythm of recited verse, or the whispered telling of a story nurtures both reflection and imagination. Art and intellect coexist in seamless balance, creating a multisensory environment that fosters calm, immersive engagement with knowledge. Even as knowledge spreads outward through copies, translations, and traveling scholars, the library's essence remains enduring and deliberate. Alexandria becomes a center of measured intellectual exchange, where ideas are cultivated patiently and allowed to flourish gradually. Every scroll preserved, every transcription completed, every thoughtful discussion contributes to a slow, lasting river of understanding that flows across time and space, touching civilizations far beyond the library's walls. In its final, contemplative presence, the library at Alexandria invites the human mind to engage fully, to reflect deeply, and to absorb the richness of human thought accumulated over centuries. Time stretches gently within its halls, allowing ideas to flourish, understanding to deepen, and curiosity to unfold naturally. Its quiet, deliberate rhythm fosters patient contemplation, careful consideration, and profound connection with the wisdom of humanity. The library is a sanctuary of enduring intellect, creativity, and imagination, a place where knowledge is honored, curiosity is nurtured, and the human spirit is invited to explore, dream, and expand with slow, deliberate reverence. It is a timeless refuge, guiding all who enter toward the gentle, steady unfolding of understanding, one thoughtful moment at a time.